Los Angeles, and Seattle. We have gotten off to a good start on CREATE, but we still have a ways to go. An important question for this panel is how to advance large-scale projects like CREATE. I think one of the answers is to bring back the Projects of National and Regional Significance program, which I know Mr. Nadler had mentioned. So I'm looking forward to working on this panel over the next 6 months to develop solutions and to make our freight network more efficient, and today to hear from our witnesses. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I want to introduce our panel at this time. This is my 25th year on this committee, and some of the veterans around here will remember that many years ago we had some hearings that lasted 7 or 9 or 10 hours, and nobody would be here to hear the witnesses, none of the members, and the hearings would drag out. And so when I started to chair the Aviation Subcommittee back in 1995, I said my ideal hearing was one with a panel with 5 members, and we would not have, I'd rather have more hearings instead of ones that drag out for a long, long time. And so we I apologize to all those. We had many other people who wanted to testify on this panel today, and maybe we'll be able to get to some of them at later hearings. But each member of this, each one of our witnesses today was chosen for a very specific reason, because they all represent different parts of our transportation world. And our first witness, I'm very honored to have Fred Smith from FedEx. Some people have already mentioned that FedEx is celebrating a big anniversary, and that it started with 186 packages on its first day and now delivers more than 9 million daily and more than 300,000 employees and connecting 220 countries. I would guess that Mr. Smith is probably amazed at how this company has grown over the years, but great success. And certainly Mr. Smith is one of the most respected men in Tennessee. He's almost 400 miles from me in East Tennessee, but we're proud of him nonetheless. Next we have Wick Moorman from Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern is one of the greatest companies in this nation, a long history, a Class 1 railroad. Railroads carry more freight than any other mode of surface transportation and operate on more than 200,000 miles of tracks throughout the nation. And last year, and this always has impressed me, the freight railroads spent almost $14 billion of their own private capital to improve and expand their tracks. Next, we have Derek Leathers, President of Werner Enterprises. Werner operates one of the largest trucking fleets in the world. More than 250 million trucks carry freight on our highway system each year. Not every community, many of the small communities don't have a railroad or an airport or a waterway nearby, but people live and work and shop along the nation's 4 million miles of highways and roads, and as a result, many consumer goods are often transported on the highway system, most of them for at least part of its journey. I'm very pleased also to have Jim Newsom here. Jim Newsom has had a very distinguished career. He is the president of the South Carolina Ports Authority, which operates the port in Charleston, South Carolina. But he also has extensive experience as a senior executive in the container shipping industry. And as such, he can offer a unique perspective on maritime transportation issues. And last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Ed Whitkin. And Mr. Whitkin is joining us from the Transportation Trades Department of the AFL-CIO, where he is president. He has been before this committee on several occasions. Transportation workers play a key and very important role in the performance of the freight system, and I'm glad that he's here today to discuss their role in improving our freight transportation system. Just before we start the testimony, I would like to call on my colleague, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Cohen is not a member of the panel, but he has made a special effort to be here this morning to welcome one of our witnesses.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the volunteer courtesy. It is indeed my honor to be here and to congratulate the panel on its work and its selection of its first testifier. There could be nobody better in this country, and with all due respect to the other members of the panel who are highly esteemed experts, to give the opening remarks on the 21st century than Fred Smith. Because the 21st century started in 1973 when he started FedEx, and that was the 21st century of transportation. Knowing Fred, he's already in the 22nd century. He is a forward-thinking man, and Memphis is proud to have had people that were innovators and shook the world, from Kemmons Wilson, who learned how to do the motel industry and the hotel industry, to Elvis Presley, to Fred Smith. There is nobody that represents their company probably as intimately and is recognized as such as Fred Smith and Federal Express. And what he has done for the country in volunteering as a Marine and serving in Vietnam, in serving on the World War II committee to put together the funds and the planning for the memorial on the Mall, and for his work on the energy security subcommittee, which is so important to our country's security in the future. And to my city, where anything involved with our city that's important, whether it's the FedEx Forum or whether it's the zoo, which I visited just last week with its beautiful Teton Park tribute to the grizzlies and the wolves and the photography of all that area, which I visited and appreciated. Fred Smith knows transportation. And my father told me that in his time, what was good for General Motors was good for the country, was a credo. I think today what's good for Federal Express is good for the country. I welcome Fred Smith, and I'm proud to the committee has allowed me to introduce him. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nadler turned to me and he said he believes this is the first time Elvis Presley's ever been mentioned at one of our hearings. And I think that's true. Again, I would like to welcome our witnesses and thank them for being here, and I ask unanimous consent that their full statements be included in the record. Ordinarily, we ask our witnesses to limit their testimony to about 5 minutes because of the